Somebody's holding somebody's hand up there, and I'm not sure which of you. That's not a question, that's cookies. Wonderful.
Well, yeah. Can I have one?
Oh my god. Oh.
Next time. Yeah, but you like it with flavor. Okay, another question. Yep. Do we have
Want to do what stuff? for a living?
creative stuff? The question is, do we have any advice for people who want to do creative stuff for a living?
Yes.
Yeah, do it. It worked for us. I did a commencement talk last year, which was just about that. It was like, here is absolutely everything I know and have figured out over 20-something years of doing this, summed up in a 20-minute commencement talk, and which is just
Okay, no, that was a
Google
mistake.
online. There's Vimeo or it's on YouTube, and it's 20 minutes of me saying, yeah, this is how you do it. But mostly you do it by doing it. And
If I could add, I mean, I don't know what you mean by creative stuff, but I actually, the more I think about it, the more I worry that we separate out, well, I'm a creative person, and the people who aren't creative people are just like people who do work. And I think that's just not true. I think pretty much everyone is creative, and most of the people I know who are good at what they do, whether they do electrical engineering or physics or computers or law or whatever, if they're good, they're creative people. I think we would be well served if more of the line.
Damn truth.
But yeah, if you mean like write songs, make art, and try to make a living as a working artist, just good luck.
And I honestly think it's probably easier in many ways today than it has ever been. And it's a little bit bumpy right now and weird, but there's all sorts of systems that, what we've done today would have been literally impossible 5 years ago, let alone a decade ago. It would have taken
Days.
huge efforts
Five months
to
get the word out
let you
to
know,
this
to
many
organize
people.
this thing. The fact that we can just do it by going out to the world and saying, can we do this? And that everybody here who found out about this found out about it in the last
24
20 hours, because we didn't know about it more than 20 hours ago. That's it.
Yeah, but also the fact that people were excited to help us, and Grace tweeted me, and not to harken back to my TED Talk, but as a creative person who's not offering something of like direct value, like a box of food to the person who needs it, you're offering them creative food, you're offering them this other thing.
Uses you as a rest.
What I found is that the community really will, if you're offering them something creative of value, they will support you more than you can even imagine. If you work hard and you work hard on that thing that you're making. And it's really beautiful now. I mean, I've been hanging out for the last 10 days with all of these filmmakers who are just running at top speed away from the old system and towards crowdfunding and Kickstarter as they see it working more and more. That they're just, it's sort of like we've been waiting for permission forever to just go directly to the audience, and now that enough people are doing it, there's a critical mass, and we can go right to the people who want the art and make a deal with them instead of having to go through offices and middlemen and all these places. And it really feels like a beautiful time to be making art. It really does. Like it feels very exciting right now. Red flag, red hat. You also have cookies. Pass them around. Pass them up. I have cookie crumbs on my face. Oh. I don't even know if that's legal. I got arrested for doing this in Amsterdam. Find out if it's legal and I'll drink it. I seriously got arrested and went to jail in Amsterdam for taking a beer from a fan and drinking it in a public square during one of these gigs. It sucked.
That's dumb.
What's the question?
You'll find out.
Have I taken Amanda to the Mermaids of Wiki-Wiki? I haven't, and that's actually, I have a weird little short list, and I don't know if we're going to do it this time, but it's definitely something that I want to do. My short list of weird Florida stuff I would like to show her.
I have a list of weird Florida stuff. When I was 23, I took a road trip from Boston down to Florida, just using Roadside America as my guide, and did some very strange things in Florida. Staying in a castle made out of aluminum siding.
Yeah.
I bonded with the guy who made it. It was beautiful. Your question back there, yeah, you in the crosses. Yeah, you. Okay. Sure. No more questions about later questions, though. Now questions. Who's got a burning
Purple down
question?
there. Yeah.
Me? I've got a. Well, first, thank you for the best birthday present ever.
Okay, so
We'll come back to you, Dad.
Okay.
Oh no,
that's a really
great
good question.
Her question was, do we get carpal tunnel and how do we handle it? I think we'll answer separately.
So the nearest I tend to get to carpal tunnel
I'm using you again.
is actually, for me, it's signing things. I like handwriting things a lot because I actually don't get carpal tunnel if I'm writing. My pen is moving and stuff like that, but things get very repetitive if I'm signing stuff over and over. And with the new novel, Ocean at the End of the Lane, I've said that I'm going to sign 10,000 copies, and I'm already dreading it. And what I try and do to fix that is normally if I'm just signing things for people, if I'm on a signing tour, then I will also do little drawings. And the little drawings, people think, oh, it's so sweet that he does little drawings. And really, the secret of little drawings to me is that when I'm moving my arms around and I'm not just doing exactly the
You've
same.
just ruined the magic in the lives of tens of thousands. Bastard.
Also, they make me happy. And they make other people happy.
That's adorable.
They also
It's a twofer.
they mean that you're moving in different directions and different ways. And the other thing, which is actually something that I was taught and told by friends of mine who draw comics. So I have a lot of friends who draw comics, and that means that you hit your drawing board at 9 o'clock in the morning, and you may take off half an hour for lunch or an hour for lunch, and you're probably not going to knock off till 6, 7 o'clock at night, and that hurts. And they told me and taught me that whatever you do, you don't move your hand from the wrist. Do not draw from the wrist. Do not write from the wrist. That's how we're taught when we're kids, and we do everything moving from the wrist, and they say, no, do it from there. And do as much as you can from your upper arm and your shoulder, and it's weird and it's counterintuitive and it takes you a while to learn. But once you do, you're moving your whole arm around, and it really significantly diminishes the whole carpal tunnel problems. So that's my end.
I actually have very direct problems with this, and not so much now, but in the early days of the Dresden Dolls, my band, I was playing piano a lot. We were touring, and so I was playing most nights out of the week. And I was also managing and booking the band and dealing with everything having to do with the band. So this would have been around like 2002, 3, 4. And so I would be behind my laptop maybe 6 or 7 hours a day and on my BlackBerry and playing piano. There basically wasn't any time when I wasn't doing something like this. And I started to get pain in my forearms, both of them. And I ignored it and just sort of powered through and powered through and powered through until about a year into first starting to get pain, I couldn't play the piano without it hurting. And I couldn't type without it hurting. And it tumbled downwards really fast, and to the point that I couldn't wash a dish or open a car door without being in searing pain. Ooh. And I got to the point where I was like, okay, I can't ignore this. So I went to a bunch of doctors and specialists and piano teachers and kind of tried to find a solution. And I even went to a Feldenkrais piano teacher who assessed me and said, listen, you're not going to want to hear this, but you have to stop playing piano for a year. Come back and see me next week. And I remember going, and this was like the height of our band getting signed and all this. And I remember going home to and telling Brian, that the drummer, that we might have to quit, or that and I just, I had a mental breakdown. And the way I solved it was the way I think you solve any problem like that, where it's really just an overuse problem, I had to back off. My body was just sending me this message going, you're living in a fucked up way, you're working too hard, you need help. And it kicked me in gear to find help. So I got an assistant who helped me type, and I had to look at the way I played piano, and I had to back off. And I had to do the unsexiest solution, which was I had to deal with my life. And I think that's really true. Like anyone who's suffering from overuse, it's not even necessarily that you're doing it wrong. Often you're just doing too much. You're not listening to your body, and you're not taking breaks, and so many people who work at computers deal with this, and your body is sending you a message, which is don't sit there for 5 hours. Take a walk. Call your friends. Call your mom. Or whatever message the universe is sending you, it's usually a good message. Okay, we're gonna take one more. So who's got the searing question? She's getting pointed at. Yeah.
So the question is, did either of us have a particular realization or turning point that got us to where we are today?
Not really.
I was going to say not really. It's been,
Sorry.
For me, it's been incredibly, a slow, gradual process of day in, day out. You write the things that need to be written, you finish them, you get them off, you go on to the next thing. And it's very, very unsexy when you think of it like that. And then suddenly you sort of look behind you and you have this huge stack of books that you've written, and you have people reading them and loving them, and people whose lives have been changed because of them, and people who talk about them, and you have this weird and peculiar and wonderful life, and a wife that you weren't expecting, and all of this stuff. And it was all incredibly gradual. There's no moment where I got up and went, now it is all going to be, I figured it all out and now I'm going to do it. I've never figured it all out. I still haven't.
Mm-hmm. I'm amazed at how often I get asked this question. Like, as if there was a point in my life where I decided to be an artist, or a point where I decided to start a band, or it really all is. It's kind of like the thing I was just talking about. It's, I wanted to perform and make music since pretty much before I can remember. I can't remember a time that I didn't want to just do that and perform and write and create and be on stage. And so, like, every part of my life wound up just gradually meandering towards that. I just knew I wanted to do it. And so, if a decision in my life wasn't serving that, I would, even if I made a wrong decision, I would look at it and say, well, is this going to help me get on stage and be a performer and be a writer, or is it not going to help? Not that I haven't made many, many mistakes in my life. I have made many.
I will actually say there was one night that did actually, if I had to point to any single moment It would be a very, very bad night when I was about 21, maybe 22, and sort of trying to figure out what I was going to be in the world and thinking about it. And I remember just, it was like the first time I'd ever really had insomnia. I simply couldn't sleep, and I'm just lying there trying to decide, what am I, who am I? And I thought, I think I'm a writer. But I could be kidding myself, because I don't know. But I think I'm a writer. And
Can I ask why?
why did I think I was a writer? I'm not really sure. I hadn't finished anything up until that point.
What dawned on you? Why do you think I'm a writer?
Well, I'd always known that I was a writer, I think. But or at least I'd always thought that I was a writer, but I had no way of proving it to anybody, including myself. And there was this point where I do remember lying there going, I have to do this. I have to go out into the world and I have to try and be a writer, because maybe I'm not. And if I don't do this, if I don't try it, then I'm going to go through the rest of my life secretly thinking, really I'm a writer. Which is going to be fine, except then I'm going to be in my, I'll be 100 years old. I will be on my deathbed. And I'll be thinking, I could have been a writer. And I would not know if I was lying to myself. And I thought, I have to go out and do it, because that way, if I fail, that's fine. I can go out and fail, and I can go, well, wasn't a writer. That's fine. But I did know at that moment that if I didn't try it and succeed or fail, then I would always feel like I had somehow betrayed myself or not done something I could have done.
Is there anything like that in your life now, where you go back and you go, I could have been this, but I chose the writer path?
No.
Really? Nothing?
Nothing. I mean, it was interesting for me. Occasionally I'll look at things that I haven't really done, or paths I could have gone. People say, we'd love it if you would, would you like to take over from Stephen Moffat as showrunner of Doctor Who? And I go, no.
Woo! Do it.
Don't say that. I don't want to move to Wales.
Aww.
Nice as it is.
And I really don't. I love my thing now that I have, where I can come in every year, every 18 months, and write a Doctor Who script. And next one goes out 11th of May.
Well.
And everybody thinks the title is The Last Cyberman, but it won't be. But it's really creepy and funny, and it's got Cyberman in it. But I don't want to do that. I had a wonderful meeting. I was on a stage a week ago with Chuck Lorre, who does The Big Bang Theory, and has created a lot of amazing comedy shows over the years. And we were in conversation at South by Southwest, as you are. And I definitely felt like looking at him going, there could have been a world in which I got into comedic television. I could have spent my life making half-hour sitcoms. They would have been really good half-hour sitcoms, or at least weird. But that's a life that I didn't do. And so I look at it with moments like that, but I never look at, I never go, I wish I'd been a merchant banker, why?
So can I ask, I want to do a weird experiment. I just want to ask you guys 2 questions. This is for my own personal curiosity. So if it applies, raise your hand. If you feel like you have found the thing that you're supposed to be doing and you're doing it, raise your hand. And if you, get your hands down. And if you feel like there's a thing you're supposed to be doing it and you're not totally doing it yet, raise your hand. It's not 50-50.
Actually, let me go for the other. I just want to,
both.
And how many of you are going, I don't know what I was put here for?
I'd say that's about, yeah, that's about right.
Would you like to?
What?
Should we do it?
Yeah. Thank you guys. Those were great questions.